Push Rod Fury. Well, here we are in the 75 MG leaving Brooklyn. None of the cameras are working the way I thought they would, so just take a little bit of drive, a little bit of footage, and we'll get more footage on the road. And we're headed to Cooperstown, New York. It's about 150, 160 miles. I'm gonna pick up my son and go from there. So why am I so excited about going on a 400-mile car trip? And that's really not a big accomplishment for a modern car. You just jump in the car, fuel it up. You may not even need to stop for gas or to recharge your batteries, right? You can just go on that 400-mile trip. But this is in a 1975 MG Midget. And when I picked this car up, I really knew nothing about MGs. I'm still learning an awful lot, total novice at this. But I clearly was enamored with the car because I didn't take the time to understand what was wrong with it before it could be used safely, in air quotes, on the road. And as I dug into the car, I found the entire suspension system was shot. So I had to replace everything. So that includes the shock absorbers, which are really strange looking if you've never seen an MG before, the springs, all of the shackles, nuts, bolts, bushings, tie rod ends, everything had to be replaced. It was all either hacked apart by previous mechanics or the previous owner, and it certainly wasn't safe to drive. It also wasn't running right. And so I really needed to call in a friend to make sure that I had everything set up right, that I gap the spark plugs, set the timing. It turns out the alternator wasn't charging the battery, so to replace the alternator and make sure everything was working well. So luckily, I have a friend who's very familiar with these cars, was able to tune the carburetor, help me get the front end aligned, and make sure the car was working as best as possible. And then I was super excited to get it out on this trip and explore upstate New York. Through the town of Delhi, New York, and we saw this really attractive gateway. So we double backed and we saw indeed there's a driveway. We weren't quite sure what was going on here, but it became apparent this was a cemetery. We really weren't sure if we were supposed to be driving on this road, but it didn't look like a walking path, so we figured it was okay. After the fact, we looked up a little bit about the cemetery, and it is amazing. It's a final resting place for Tolliver Holmes, and you really need to look up Tolliver Holmes and follow his journey from escaping slavery in the South to joining the Union Army and fighting in the Civil War, and finally taking residency in Delhi and living out his life here. A true patriot, true American, and his story is humbling. So we didn't know what we would find through that gateway, a cemetery that's been there for almost 200 years. I highly recommend stopping in Delhi and taking time to look up the folks that are buried and have their final resting place in the cemetery. It's such an important part of the area's history. We chose Amagang Brewery as our destination. It just so happens to be in Cooperstown. Cooperstown being the home of the Baseball Hall of Fame, so there's a lot of reasons to come up this way. But for us, it was the roads and the brewery. And of course, we're driving, so one beverage is about the limit. But we wanted to return to the brewery during the day and get some glamour shots in front of their beautiful buildings. So we did that, and then we really just stuck to back roads. This car is cute. It is not what I would say call an interstate car. It's not going to do well at 65, 70, or 80 miles an hour. This car, to me, feels comfortable up to 50, and it certainly doesn't feel comfortable with 18-wheelers and dump trucks and giant SUVs barreling down on it on the interstate. So again, the theme of the video is back roads of New York, and we stuck to back roads from here all the way back to New Jersey and then into Brooklyn. Thanks for joining us on the first road trip of the 1975 MG Midget. Everything worked even better than expected. We had a chance to use those cute little set of 3 windshield wipers for a few minutes, and the heater kept us nice and toasty. And the little MG returned us home safely, so I can't wait to get out on the road again. Thanks for watching.